A new batch of PC gaming handhelds are on their way. Some aiming high, some going low, meaning more options wherever you are in that market. We'll get into the pricing and specs we know so far.
And Sony just had a state of play. Some big announcements, some not so big announcements. We're going to talk about everything from the show and a whole bunch more right now on Gaming News Weekly. What's up, everybody? It's time for another episode of Gaming News Weekly, the best weekly video game news show out there. Every single Monday, we're bringing you all the biggest things happening in the video game industry. You can check us out on YouTube, Fruit Lab, and podcast services everywhere. My name is E-Rock the Red, and I'm joined every week by this man right here, full clip. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
What's going on? Doing good. Yeah, I got to give it to you. The game that I jumped into this past week and spent like every ounce of my spare time on was X Defiant, and I loved every minute of it.
Nice, very cool. It runs good for you. I know you've had some dealing with your internet and stuff like that. Everything's good. That was my first question. I was like, is there going to be a lag for you?
Yeah, multiplayer wise, I don't have a lot of problems as far as that goes, because I guess it doesn't really take a lot of bandwidth back and forth to play like a multiplayer game. The real problem is when updates come along and I've got like several gigs or something to worry about. And this is like DSL that I'm on, so it's a step back into the past. But I do have to say that, when you start X Defiant, you can usually play that 25 level and lower intro playlist. Yeah. And that, I think, is where the vast majority of players are. So once I hit 25 and I could no longer be in that big general population, everything started getting, I'm guessing, like way more narrowed down as far as who's available to play with in these servers. And I did start having some disconnection errors. Yeah,
I did notice that too, where games would, and I don't know if it's the servers or what, but games would start half empty and then fill as they go. But by then, you're already at a deficit some points because then people are leaving. So it's like a whole... it's the circle of life with these servers, man. It's like you got to start good, start fresh, and have people committed. So, that's a big issue that I agree with that I'm having. I played it not nearly as much as last week because something else took up my time, but I definitely got in there a bunch. And I'm like, as I'm playing, I'm like, am I getting worse? Like, I feel like I'm getting really destroyed. Now I'm past that level 25 or whatever where there's no longer skill-based matchmaking. And man, I was hurting the last few games where I was like, I gotta go play something else because I was getting so frustrated. I was getting destroyed. So
who's your favorite faction in that game?
I really like the cleaners. I like shooting that thing out that like burns people up. I think that's fun when that hits.
Yeah.
But I think the one I utilize most is the Ghost Recon one where you can send out the ping or whatever, and then you see their silhouettes in the area. Like I think that one.
The ultimate on that one is really cool. Where you go into heat seeker mode with a pistol, and it's a one-shot kill. Yeah,
I still I'm my problem though is I don't know where the people are when I see all these things and I'm just shooting at and they're 3 walls away and I'm just shooting into the walls. I'm I don't know what's happening.
I got lucky. I used it one time and it was playing domination and or maybe one of the ones where there's a single point of capture and the entire enemy team was right around the corner from me.
Amazing.
All of them on that point. So I was able to take out 4 in a row.
That's awesome.
Yeah, then they turn around on me.
What do you think about how long it takes for that to build? There's some games where I'm I don't even get it if I'm not playing the point or whatever,
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really tell if your gameplay or your score or something is affecting that, or if it's just... It seems like some build faster than the others, so maybe it's just a purely timing thing. But some matches, you're right, I never got it. But, I mean, some matches end faster than others.
Yeah.
And if you're playing a game like Escort, where it can go on for like 25 or 30 minutes per side, you might hit it a few times.
Yeah. So you're having fun with it.
Yeah, so far so good. I'm working on all those challenges, trying to get all the operators or whatever you would call them in this game unlocked.
Yes. Yeah, I like that they do that. Like, I think I'm almost got the dead sack. I think I'm at like 600,000 or whatever for it. Now you have 700,000 to unlock it. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I tried a game that, like, again, I was like it was sent to me by one of the review sites or whatever, one of the developers. It's a game called Striving for Light Survival. And I was like, all right, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to check it out. It looks like it's a Vampire Survivors clone. And the more I looked into it, so it's based on a game called Striving for Light. It uses all the same assets, and they just were like, hey, why not make a second game that is just like this Vampire Survivors clone type thing? So they made this, and it plays a lot like, like you're a Vampire Survivors style game, but meets like Path of Exile, which is another one, but it has a huge skill tree. So that's what this game has. It's like it's got 8 different characters you could choose from to play, and then like a bunch of different weapons, and then all these different skills that open up for you. And it's just simple. You're in a small room, and it's like a bullet hell type thing, but it's all about putting together the skills to get you through the run. It's like 20 waves, and you get through the run. And something about the way this game is made, or what, they figured out some way to like just jack into my brain, and like I'm like, okay, I got to get unlock all the skills. I'm like trying to unlock everything. It's like a $6 game or whatever. And if you're a fan of Vampire Survivors, I recommend it. I think you will enjoy it because it does things a little bit differently, simplifies some things, adds some things, but it's great. It's all like this hand-drawn world. All the enemies are like, nothing is amazing, but it's all really well done. They took some time, and they put a lot into it. But it was one where, like, there's been a couple games where, like, these developers or the review sites will send like codes, and I'm like, this game is terrible. I have one now that I started, and I'm like, I don't know. Do I want to talk about this? I'm not even going to talk about it this time. But
you said you're a completionist in the past, so it feels nice, right, to get like a simpler game that feels actually accomplishable. The opposite of one of your big open world, so much crap packed in there.
Absolutely, dude. It is insane. And on the other hand, like, my son's been playing like Roblox a lot lately, and he'll have me like do it. And that is the exact opposite, because there's like one of the games, this pet simulator game that he's obsessed with. It's just, it's like infinite. And like, I'm like, this, I can't, because I want to like get, but you got to spend like thousands of dollars in those games of real money to get there. So I just can't. I have to stop when he's playing that. But I also played a bunch of one of our new release games. Should we move things along?
Yeah, let's get to it.
All right, let's talk about our new releases from last week. All right, first up, Multiversus came out May 28th on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, X, S, and PC. I played a lot of Multiversus this week. I've been popping back and forth between my PlayStation 5 and my Steam Deck, and I'm just going back and forth, and I'm playing it, doing the daily challenges, the weekly challenges, trying to progress. And it is exactly, it's what I missed. I missed playing it. It's filling that void for me. Some new characters and stuff like that. Now, there is a lot that they changed, a lot that they removed since the beta, and the fan base is very, very upset. Now, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it for what I do, and I get where a lot of these complaints are coming from. But there are a lot of complaints. Actually, there's 2 subreddits for Multiversus, and I was subscribed to both of them, and I left both of them because I could not stand all the negativity, dude. It's so insane. And now some of the things are like, the game's a lot slower, which I like. I like the slowness. It's less spammy. And everything is more thought out. It's like a well put together fighting game. It's more, you have to have everything planned out. But it is like missing a bunch of features, like stuff like at the end of the game, it used to show how much damage you did, or how many ring outs you had, and that sort of thing. Or even for your characters, like it would show like your level and show like how great you are. You had something to work towards. But in this one, it doesn't have any of that. The UI, I don't know what they did with this user interface. It's terrible. And then part of it is because there's like all these different currencies that don't mean anything. It's weird. There's like perk currencies to buy perks, but like all the perks suck. And then there's the Gleamium, which is the stuff that you buy that's like the real money stuff. And then there's fighter currencies to unlock more fighters. And then there's gems to I don't understand what any of it is. I just want to play the game. And that's what I've been doing. I've just been playing the game. I've been having fun playing as the Joker. He's a new one. Shaggy, my old man, and then LeBron. So I'm enjoying myself. Now the developer Tony did put out a tweet that says they ran out of time. Like they're gonna add all this stuff. They ran out of time. They were pressured to get it out there. Switched everything to Unreal Engine 5, and they're like just trying to test it all and get it out there. So yeah, we'll see. But
gotcha. I was going to ask if there's any word if this is like a work in progress, or I know it's a live service game, which sort of implies that it's always a work in progress. But you never know if things are intentionally stripped out, like the stuff at the end of the game that shows you you're like KD. I mean, Call of Duty did that stuff on purpose a long time ago to coddle people who don't do so great in the game, I guess.
Yeah, it helps to against the toxic environment. I get that, but like I don't know. It's weird. A lot of the choices like that for a fighting game, I don't know if it should, you should be able to see what your stats were, or even if they just showed you and not show, just show you your own stats. One of my biggest complaints is the battle pass progression. It's insanely slow. It's the slowest in any battle pass game. Like I've bought a lot of battle passes, and this one, it's the worst. Like you only get battle pass progression for the daily and weekly challenges. Any game you play after that, there's no rewards. It's just to like level up your characters. You're not getting XP. You're not getting battle pass stuff. It's insane. Like I don't understand. Like so people are saying like, now I mean, granted, you should be playing a game to have fun. You shouldn't be playing a game to like unlock stuff. But people are like, okay, I did my daily challenges. Why else would I want to play this? And it's like, because you want to, but I also get that as someone who likes to be a completionist. Like I want to be rewarded for my time in the game and stuff like that. So it needs some work. It's weird that they had this great game during the beta, shut it down. They're like, all right, now we're gonna fix it up to what we want it to. And what has it been, a year later? Longer even, I don't know how long, they come out with this game that they say they were rushed when like it was your timeline. I don't understand why it needed to be put out when it did. I don't know. The whole thing has left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. I'm still very much enjoying the gameplay. I missed it. I like all the characters, but they got a lot of work to do. But yeah, I definitely think you should check it out. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are, if you remember, any of the way it was or whatever. But yeah, it's changed.
I'm looking forward.
It's changed a bit.
I want to jump back into it. I'm ready anytime.
Mm-hmm. Just got to pull yourself away from X-Defiant, right?
Right.
And then Nine Souls also came out on PC on May 29th. This one's great. This one's on my wish list. It's a hand-drawn 2D action platformer, kind of Metroidvania style game, and it looks gorgeous. Like the artwork is fantastic. It's like you're this little character and you're on this quest for vengeance against these 9 souls, whatever they are. But it's set in this, they call it a Tao punk world. It's like Taoism and Asian styles mixed with cyberpunk. So that's really cool. And then the gameplay style, they call it deflection combat. It's Sekiro based, where it's a lot of parries, a lot of like, deflecting throwables and stuff like that, timing based stuff, a lot of timing based stuff, and then there's a lot of precision platforming. So everything I've read, this definitely has a difficulty curve that you gotta learn. It's not gonna hold your hand. It's gonna be tough. But if you're a fan of that style game, platformers and Metroidvanias, it's a fantastic game. So I'm looking forward to checking it out. All right, and that's it for this week's new releases. It's time for our news of the week. All right, our top news for this week: Sony PlayStation had a state of play. This is we talked about it recently. It's all happening. Everybody's, this was Sony's this week. Next week we got Xbox and Summer Games Fest. A bunch of new games announced and shown off. And this one, the big one for me, anyways, Astro was revealed. And it's going to be this huge game. So Astro's Playroom was a game that came with the PlayStation 5. Low-key, one of the best showcases of the PlayStation 5 and one of the cutest games. Fantastic game. My son has 100 hours in this game, and it's like a 5-hour game. It's insane. We've played it so many times. But now there's this full game. It's going to have over 80 levels, 6 galaxies, 150 different enemies, and I don't know, I might just be making that number up. But it looks fantastic. It looks so cool. It comes out September 6th, which is way sooner than I thought it was going to be coming out. And yeah, I'm excited. This was the highlight for me.
Yeah, and that first one had a lot of it was very PlayStation centric, and we were talking about it last episode, where they kind of even go through the history of PlayStation. And it looks like there's a lot of that baked into here. I noticed from the trailer, your guy looks like Parappa the Rapper at some point, so I'm kind of wondering how many other classic throwbacks are going to be hidden in there.
Right, yeah. So in the first one, you walk through and you see a thing and you're trying to figure out what game that is. It's always a PlayStation game. This one, maybe that's what the 150 is. I think there's 150 different PlayStation references in this, like the Parappa the Rapper and Kratos and stuff like that. So those are always really cool to see. But yeah, dude, your ship is like a DualSense controller. At one point, it's like a PS5. It's definitely like a PlayStation game. Yeah, I'm very excited. My son is very excited. There's a cute little fox in it. It's gonna be great. And then the other big game that was announced, and people have been comparing these two a lot, but this game was Concord. And the trailer, first it starts out with this great cinematic trailer, real funny, kind of giving me Guardians of the Galaxy vibes. And I was like, okay, this looks cool. I like the characters and everything like that. I'm like, oh, we're going to have to wait for gameplay, though. But no, we didn't have to wait long. Right into that, they show the gameplay of the game, and it is a 5v5 hero shooter. And it doesn't look like it's doing anything really great. It's a lot of Overwatch vibes. But it doesn't look like, it's anything new, anything special. So, it was kind of a bummer. And I'm a sucker for a multiplayer hero shooter. You know that. So I was like, all right, I'll check it out. The characters are interesting. I like the character design. Some of them are interesting. Some of them are really less interesting, is what I'll say.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was, and it's funny, too, because, people are saying, the YouTube video of Astrobot has 99% positive likes or whatever, and then Concord, I think I saw, it was 18% likes. So it was, yeah,
it's an odd one. Yeah, one of those characters looks like Master Chief stung by a bee.
I know exactly which one you're talking about. That was the one where I was like, not so great. I was like, what is this? I don't understand this world that they're living in. But yeah, that comes out in August, and there will be a beta sometime soon that you can sign up for. I will definitely try to get in there and get some hands-on. Because nothing really else matters as long as, and they showed it there, Marvel Rivals is the hero shooter that I'm waiting for. They did announce it is going to be on console. It's going to be on PS5. closed beta test in July. They showed some new characters coming to the game, like Venom, I think was a new one. I don't know. There was some new stuff. But yeah, dude, this is going to be... I'm so excited for this game. So I was so bummed when I couldn't get it to work on my Steam Deck for the alpha for that. And now I'm like, okay, I get a second chance on...
Nice.
I would much rather play it on my PS5. So it's great. I'm excited.
Nice. Yeah, plus you get your Scarlet Web Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, a new little skin. So yeah, dude, I'm like so excited. Like, you know, being a huge Overwatch fan, being a huge Marvel fan, like it's the best of both worlds, and I'm really, really hoping that it's good. Everything all the gameplay I've watched and things I've heard from people that have played the alpha, it's positive, but it's also NetEase, and I don't know about the monetization of it all and all that, but we'll see. God of War Ragnarok was another big one they announced that it's coming to PC on September 19th, 2024. So, it's happening. They're really starting to churn out these PlayStation titles over to PC. Now, this one, it did show like right on the intro that you do need to have a PlayStation Network account in order to play this, because that's been, there's been a lot of contention about that recently, and it says it right there. So we'll see. It will, obviously it's not going to get to a lot of places that don't have access to the PlayStation Network. So, but that's Sony's thing. They're making it a part of if you want to play it on PC. Some other things we saw. We got to look at the Until Dawn, the new remake, which it doesn't look that much better.
Yeah,
it looks pretty similar still. I mean, it was a beautiful game when it first came out, and it still looks great. But I don't know. I guess it's because I think there's a movie coming out or something. So maybe that's why. But that's going to be out on PS5 and PC. Some VR trailers for Behemoth from Skydance. It looks like it could be a good, for fans of VR and hand-to-hand combat, fantasy type stuff.
People are making a lot of comparisons to Skyrim, but it's pretty different because in that VR too, this is the best evidence that I've seen so far that we're out of the tech demo phase of VR and getting into the full-fledged game.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, some big games. The problem is that I can't spend a ton of time in VR, playing these games like I would play for a couple hours, Path of Exile 2 got announced. It's coming to PlayStation 5 with couch co-op, so that'll be in early access later this year. Monster Hunter Wilds got a new trailer for that. Looks gorgeous. I've never really been into the Monster Hunter series, but this one, man, it looks really, really good.
Yeah.
And that's going to be out in 2025. So, it just looked, those monsters, the way they do it and everything. Silent Hill 2 got a new trailer. It's going to be out October 8th on PS5. And that they actually had, after the show, there was a whole Silent Hill kind of showcase where they showed off like 14 minutes of the gameplay. And it looks okay. It didn't blow me away. It looked fine. I'll check it out. I like the Silent Hill game. I like that pyramid head guy. Those freaky nurses.
Yeah.
Another VR game, Alien Rogue Incursion. That was just like a real quick snippet showing the alien. A Dynasty Warriors game, which is exciting. We haven't had a Dynasty Warriors game in a long time. Those were always fun. It'll be interesting to see how they work with having all those people that you're battling on one screen. See how many they can jam in. Those are always fun hack and slash games. That's 2025. Ballad of Antara, they showed off. That's a free-to-play fantasy action role-playing game. It looked okay. It didn't, again, nothing that really knocked my socks off. It's going to be out in 2025. Infinity Nikki was the trailer. I had no idea what this was. It's like you're taking pictures, you're changing your outfits. It's this little girl with some creatures. And then there's magical powers. I have no idea what this game is, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, this one really stood out to me. I was watching this one with my wife, and it just seems, I don't know if I want to play it, but it seems like
Yeah.
you're collecting these outfits. The outfits give you some sort of power. So when, like, in a normal game, I don't know if normal's the right word, but in other games, you're going to collect your little power up, your little grappling gun, and that lets you traverse the level in new ways. In this one, it's all going to be outfit based. So the outfit will give you that power to float or whatever you need.
And you got to look good too at the same time, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one was a strange one. And then we last up, Where Winds Meet. It's a really amazing looking game set in ancient China. It's a role playing game. A lot of martial arts and stuff like that. So that one, I remember hearing about a while back, and I haven't thought of it since. But it looks like it's on the right path. No date or anything on that one, but yeah, looks cool. So yeah, it was again not like it. It had some exciting things. I think more for me, like I was super psyched for Astro Bot, which I know not a ton of people are. It's like a kids platformer game, but like that was like a huge highlight for me. And then announcement of Marvel Rivals, like those were two things that really took this up another notch. And then being able to see what Concord is. For me, I know a lot of people were disappointed in the state of play because it didn't have a ton of big things, but Sony did say that at the Summer Game Fest they do have a bunch of other trailers and announcements too. So, what did you think of the overall show?
Overall, interesting. I mean, there's quite a few things that I didn't even know were coming out. That this is my first exposure to them. Yeah, I mean, there's some things like Concord that's not. They seem to think it's a bigger deal than it seems to be
Right.
to most people, and remakes like Until Dawn, I could pass. I mean, I already played it. Silent Hill 2, kind of over these remakes and stuff like that. I'm interested in newer games. Where are we going from here?
Gotcha. Yeah, I hear that. All right, and then while we're on the topic of PlayStation, they did announce the PlayStation Plus games for June. SpongeBob SquarePants, The Cosmic Shake, AEW Fight Forever, and Streets of Rage 4 will be available on June 4th. So, yeah, get in there. Play a exploding barbed wire match in AEW. Make some cool characters. And then, yeah, SpongeBob, played that one. That's a fun game. And then Streets of Rage 4, I always like those, those beat 'em ups. So I'm excited to check that out. And they also did announce for premium members that they're going to be getting some VR games. Ghostbusters, Rise of the Ghost Lord, Walkabout Mini Golf, Synth Riders, Before Your Eyes, and The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners Chapters 1 and 2. So, yeah, so that's pretty cool. On the PSVR subreddit, they're always like, how come there's never any VR games on, PlayStation Plus? And it's cool that they added those because Synth Riders is one of my favorite games. I actually got in there this weekend and I was playing some Synth Riders and I was like, man, I forgot how much I enjoy this game. You're just dancing to some sweet tunes, baby. All right, moving on. It is official. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is coming to Game Pass on day one. So people that have the Xbox Game Pass app for their phones got a notification that popped up that says, just announced Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is coming to Game Pass on day one later this year. And it popped up at a really random time without any announcement. And so it seemed to have been an error. But later the next day, they did say it's official. It's going to be a day one launch game on Game Pass. And yeah, it's happening. It's finally, it's paying off, this big $1 billion investment here.
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah. We've kind of talked about the implications of this already and the pros and cons and what might happen, what might not happen. I'm kind of happy about it because Game Pass is fairly cheap. Black Ops 6 is going to be fairly expensive. So for the 6 months that I'm going to want to play the game, I would get Black Ops 6 plus so much more for my money.
Right.
I'm into it. Unless there's a big price hike on Game Pass right before this, and who knows.
Yeah, and I did see something, not an official thing, saying that, it's Game Pass, there won't be any, because people were saying that there are going to be an additional tier added for this game or whatever, and they said, no, it's going to stay the same. But we'll see. We will have more coming up June 9th at the Xbox Showcase afterwards to the, whatever the redacted game Call of Duty thing afterwards. But I did also hear that it is going to be, people saw it on a Steam listing where it was marked as DLC. So that led people to think that, again, it is going to be, DLC for the Call of Duty launcher. That's kind of how they're doing these games now. You already have the base game installed. It's got Warzone on there, Modern Warfare 3, and now you're going to have Black Ops 6 added into there, which I don't like. It's like, how many gigabytes? It's like 500 gigs, dude, that's taking up space. It's insane.
Right.
Like, I don't want all this stuff. I just want the game. And, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like, they've done it previously where you can, like, uncheck things and it won't download that, but it still has, like, all the assets and everything in there that you have to have for the whole thing. You can't uncheck that. Just so, yeah, I don't like that they're doing this. If they're gonna, I like the idea of it. Keep update, just keep updating it. Like what we always said, like with games like this or Madden, just we don't need a new base game every year. Just update it. But it doesn't. I mean, they're kind of somewhere in the middle. It's like, okay, this is a full game, but also we're just updating this thing that you already have. So
because I think everything's so centered on Warzone now that the main Call of Duty release every year is playing second fiddle to Warzone just because they have so many players over there.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how they do it for Game Pass and that sort of thing. That'll be interesting. If you got to download the whole thing on Game Pass, like I don't know. All right, next up, we got some new handhelds coming real soon. The Asus ROG Ally X has been kind of leaked. I think by the time you are watching this, I believe that there will be an official announcement. I think it's supposed to be later today, talking about what it is. It's basically a sequel to the ROG Ally. Updated. I think most of it stays the same. Storage is being increased. And the memory was significantly upgraded for this one. So it's pretty cool. It's showing that, they sold enough of the last one that they're going to, keep working these out, making a new version of it, trying to sell some more. This one was $499 and $699 for the two versions of that. So, yeah, we'll see what the new Ally looks like probably later today. And then the Lenovo Legion Go is supposedly getting a light version, which is, again, rumors. We don't know exactly what the light part is. The Lenovo Legion Go is one of the bigger ones. It's got the 8-inch screen, and it's a little bit chunky. So if they're going to be, just kind of paring that down, maybe a smaller screen, maybe less weight. I don't know. That again, it's all still rumor, but I do love that they are, they're still investing in these handhelds.
Yeah, and it's good to have options. I mean, there's no shortage of options. As we looked up live while we were recording one time, we were looking for that one that was being announced, but there were like 20 others that they already had out.
Right.
But from these big mainstream manufacturers where you're probably going to get an actual warranty with it, things should work as described. It's nice to have options that are good options. They're hitting you with the Ally X. That's going to be one end of the spectrum. The light might be a lower end of the spectrum. But like we say, it's not necessarily lighter on the specs. And that's the thing with these PC gaming handhelds. You don't want to go too light on the specs because you're really just knocking yourself out of so many games that you could be playing.
Yeah, and I think the Lenovo's version, the Lite, would be more, to combat stuff like the Steam Deck or the Ally, because the Lenovo Legion Go, that's one of the pricier ones. That one is if you want the bigger memory and stuff like that. That one was over $1,000. I remember that. So this one, I'm sure it's going to be lighter in price and all those specs, and still hopefully be able to, put out a good product. So yeah, it's interesting to see. I love that they're doing this. My Steam Deck has become my absolutely my most used and favorite console ever, and I will absolutely continue buying these handhelds. And I like that the competition is there because, like, let's get these going. Let's get me, like, my next one. I'm gonna have options. You know, when I bought my Steam Deck, that was the option. You know, and now it's like when my Steam Deck dies. Granted, I'm fully invested in that Steam world now, but I'm going to have so many choices, and it's really cool to think about, you know, what's next for handheld PCs and handheld gaming.
Yeah, and so that's interesting. You called it a console, and I see a lot of other places referring to these handheld gaming consoles. What makes them a console, even though they're running like a PC?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's a full package in one. You know, it's not something you can't swap out the parts or whatever. I mean, I guess you could, but you could. I mean, yeah, I don't know. You're not building it. You know, it's a one thing. You know, you're buying it, bam, like that. I don't know. That's a good question. I like this question.
And it's same question with like the Nintendo Switch, because it's sort of a hybrid, a go-between. You got a dock, but it's handheld.
Yeah. So
I think we're blurring those lines here.
We are blurring those lines, and I like it. PC Master Race, hit the road. Console world is coming, baby. And that's going to lead us into our top 5 for this week. This week we're talking about the top 5 best handheld gaming consoles. There's a lot of them. As I was like, because initially we're like, we could talk about the best consoles or whatever, and then I was like, oh, we're talking about a lot of handhelds. Is there enough in the past that we can have a top 5 handheld consoles, or is it just going to be the 5? Well, you're going to have to wait and find out, because we're going to talk about it right now. So here we go. Number 5 was a tie between Game Gear and the Game Boy Advance. Now, this is a question that I have right off the bat. We both picked Game Gear on our list here. Did you ever play the Game Gear?
Yes.
You
I
did?
actually had one. It was years later, and the thing ate batteries worse than any Game Boy I ever had.
How many batteries did it take?
Oh, God, I can't even remember. I feel like it was 4 of whatever it took, but I don't remember if it was like D batteries in that thing.
Dude, I always wanted a Game Gear. A friend of mine had a Game Gear, and I was so jealous. And it was like the one thing I coveted every year as I'm just playing my Game Boy. You know, I'm like, dude, this looks so cool. You got Bonk in there. That was like the only game I remember being able to play on that. But or Sonic. But yeah, that was always something I wanted. Absolutely. And then the Game Boy Advance. Like, we did skip over the Game Boy. It didn't make the list. Spoiler alert. But I feel like that set the tone for everything else that's coming on this list. And the Game Boy Advance, I think, was just an updated, better version of the Game Boy. All right, number 4, the Nintendo DS was. I mean, this was an amazing console. Like, Nintendo, of course, Nintendo is going to make something weird, and they did by having a, you know, this dual screen thing where one of them is like touch thing, and you're like, what? Why do I need 2 screens? What's the point? And then they made these amazing games built on the idea that you have 2 screens doing different things. And it was such a crazy idea, but it was. I mean, I think the DS brought back handheld gaming, like, just in general. You know, it was when Game Boy was out and everything like that. Game Boy Advance, sure, but everybody wanted a DS, you know? And then they had the 3DS, which, you know, if you do the little switch, that the one screen is in 3D. It was like, so weird. Nintendo's so weird.
Yeah, they always have been. So I didn't have a DS, but I'm trying to think. I mean, I didn't have the PlayStation equivalent either, but I'm trying to think timeline-wise. Was this around the time of like the PlayStation Portable or the PlayStation Vita?
Yeah, DS came out before. I think it was before the PSP and the Vita, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be wrong, but I used to work in the video game department at Toys R Us, and that's how I think about all these things when they were out. I'm like, what was I selling first? And I think it was the Nintendo DS with your Nintendogs and that sort of thing. So yeah, fun games. But that does bring us to number 3, the PS Vita. This was basically a sequel to the PSP, but just everything was better. They no longer had like the PSP, like the cartridges and that sort of thing. Everything was just streamlined. It was lighter. It was sleeker. It was such a nice handheld. I had a Vita, and I loved it. It was one of my favorite things. Just the fact, because during the time when I had a Vita, I was like such a trophy whore, and I was like, I was able to get so many platinums playing the Vita, doing remote play and that sort of thing right through the Vita. It was a really great handheld.
Yeah, and people are still asking for these PlayStation handhelds. I know they were really, really upset when that PlayStation Portal came out,
portable,
and they found out that it's not really going to be its own system.
Yeah. All right, number 2, the Nintendo Switch. Again, this is one of the best handhelds, video game handhelds, consoles like ever made, without a doubt. Nintendo just seeming to know what people want before people know what they want. They have a knack for doing that, kind of being able to get us we have 2 Nintendo Switches in this house. My wife and I both have one. And it's it's just, for a while it was one of the highest selling, consoles going. And amazing games, crazy that you could play these Mario Kart handheld, and then you just pop it in the thing, and then you're playing it on the screen. It's great. I know you have a Switch. Do you primarily play it handheld or docked?
Usually docked, but it can depend on the game. Because if we're going to do multiplayer, it makes sense to have multiple Switches handheld.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was always one that I think I put it in the dock 3 times total, because I also had other if I'm playing more graphically intensive games, I had my PlayStation 4 or whatever, and I would play those games on there, and this would just be for when I'm messing around, either out somewhere or watching TV. Then my friend probably played it handheld twice, and it was 98% of the time just docked, and he would just play it like that. So it was interesting.
Yeah. But also, if you take it into handheld mode, you've got the TV opened up for YouTube or whatever, your podcast you want to listen to.
Oh yeah, multitasking. And number 1, the Steam Deck, baby. It is a godsend. It is such an amazing device. It is my first foray into PC gaming, and it has opened me up to a world of indie games that I would never have the opportunity to play. That I'm playing now, and I'm playing it on the go. And my one big problem with it is the battery life sucks for playing AAA titles or more graphically intensive titles. But if I'm playing these indie games, dude, I could get a ton of battery life out of playing Hollow Knight, or the one I was striving for light. I played for years on this thing. It uses such little stuff. Or Balatro. That game is 30 megs, and I could play it forever, and it is the most addicting game. I love the Steam Deck, and I bought the official Valve Steam Deck dock, and occasionally if I'm playing a game with my son, I'll pop it in there, and we'll just grab a PlayStation 5 controller, and we'll play it docked on the big screen, and it works flawlessly every time. It remembers the controller, and it just works, man. It is such a great console. I'm going on vacation next month, and I'm so excited to be just take it with me and just play sitting out by the water or whatever. It's
sure,
great.
Yeah, and man, I ranked this number 1 on my list as well. And I don't have a Steam Deck. That's going to piss some people off. The fact that we have this as the number 1, handheld console is going to piss some people off. Some people will get it. But, that's why I asked you the question right before we got into this segment about, are these consoles, are they not? And I sort of put the Steam Deck up there in spirit to represent all of these PC gaming handhelds, whatever you want to call them. It's in spirit because I know there are others that are probably more powerful than the Steam Deck, or, Steam Deck may even not be the best one out right now. I don't know. But I think, like everything that you just said about how you can use it, why you love it, that's the reason I think it's the best handheld console. Even, if you want to get nitty-gritty and say that it's a gaming PC or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, did you know that I would have that as my number one pick?
I kind of figured. And, I mean, Switch for the same reason. Because these things are leaps and bounds above the Game Boy Color, the PlayStation Portable.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Fantastic consoles. Let us know what you think of our list, what we missed, what you would have changed. We want to hear from you. All right. Moving on real quick. Minecraft is getting an animated series on Netflix. They put out like a little teaser trailer with like a little creeper just walking along, and it says, more information to come. So we really don't know much about it, but they did say this just happened. The best-selling game of all time and the biggest streamer in the world are teaming up to bring you a brand new Minecraft Netflix animated series featuring an original story with new characters. So, it's exciting. My son is obsessed, and he's very excited for a cartoon with these characters. He's got the books and everything. He's excited.
Oh yeah.
All right, and last up, a Just Cause movie is in the works from Universal Pictures with the director of Blue Beetle, Angel Manuel Soto, set to helm the adaptation about Rico Rodriguez out there just shooting grappling hooks. I'm sure the movie is going to be identical to the way I played the game. It's just going to be him grappling onto a propane tank and then shooting it and flying into the air repeatedly for hours. Because that's all I did in the game.
How many cows are going to be hurt in the making of this movie?
Exactly. Like, if they don't attach a propane tank to a cow and launch it into the sky, I will review bomb this movie. Absolutely.
We need at least that amount of fan service.
Yes. So, just the next in the line of video game movies.
And we've been on a decent streak, so hopefully this one's a good one.
Yeah. I'm excited to see, what's a weird one that would be next? Farm Simulator.
God. Any one of the dating simulators? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd watch those. Maybe.
Honestly, if they did it like reality TV style, I think they'd have something there.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, it basically exists right now. So, yeah. Lots of great video game movies coming. That's like, I did recently read an article saying that video game movies are the new superhero movies. You know how, like, for a while, all we got at the theater was superhero movies, and now it's just all video game franchises. So, we'll see. All right, that's it for us here at Gaming News Weekly. Thanks for checking out this episode. Please make sure you subscribe to the channels, both on YouTube at Pop Culture Playground. Subscribe to Full Clips channel over there at GameFAQs, GameFAX, and then subscribe to the audio version anywhere podcasts are found. Just type in GNW, and you will get this show. Like I said, subscribe, download, bam, you're helping us out, getting us, the numbers we need to be bought by IGN very soon, hopefully.
Any day now
it's going to happen. Fingers crossed, yes. But, all right. And then, check us out on TikTok. Daily content being added over there, little clips from the show and updates to things coming out. Things are going to be heating up with Summer Game Fest coming next week, the Xbox Showcase. So definitely go there for, regular updates. And then, come back next Monday and hear us talk all about it. So that's it from us. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.